Hi, it's Matt. This is Mental Model Monday number 7. Today I want to talk about tension and pressure. So I'd like to show you a small toy system that I'm going to create with 4 popsicle sticks. I'm going to put the popsicle sticks just like this. Now here's the important part. What I'm doing is I'm taking this last one and I'm squeezing these together. I'm putting energy into the system and I'm trapping it just like that. So you can see the system is now in equilibrium. For every place that a popsicle stick is being pushed down, there's a corresponding force pushing it back up. So there's sort of a deliberate incongruence here that holds tension in the system. And what happens when you slightly disturb that equilibrium is that the system breaks in unpredictable and explosive ways. So I think this metaphor of tension and pressure, which is a different type of tension I'll explain, is really important to understanding all types of systems in the real world. So another way you can understand tension when it's not an equilibrium is two opposing energies being pumped into a system. So if I take this rubber band and I pull one energy this way and one energy back, you can see there's tension there, but it's not an equilibrium in the rubber band. It's coming from outside energies of each of my arms pulling in different directions. And once again, if too much tension becomes in the system or the equilibrium gets slightly disturbed, then the tension can break and the system can break in unpredictable and explosive ways. And finally, a third way that you can think of tension, or that tension can be created in a system, or in this case, I think it's better to think of it as pressure, is through overloading bottlenecks. So bottlenecks are from traditional systems analysis, specifically through inventory system analysis. And the idea is that, let's say you're on an assembly line, you're creating inventory, and most of the system can handle the amount of inventory you're putting into it, but there's one bottleneck. You can see this literally the neck of the bottle here that these balls can't fit through. And you can imagine if you kept pushing balls into this system, eventually something is going to break. And again, it's a little bit unpredictable. It might not be the bottleneck itself that breaks. There could be a crack somewhere else in the bottle. But again, you're just overloading the system with more of the resource than that one point can handle, and eventually the pressure is going to boil over. So there's something else that can happen if you keep a certain amount of pressure that the system can handle, but you don't keep disturbing it and you don't disturb the equilibrium, which is that the system can actually adapt to the tension or pressure you're putting on it. So if you imagined, instead of breaking that 4 popsicle stick system I told you earlier, if I just left it for a few days, the popsicle sticks might actually become warped into those positions, and at that point there wouldn't be any pressure, there wouldn't be any tension in the system. It would just be slack because the popsicle sticks, instead of being straight and bending, would just be bent as their natural state. So it matters how much tensile strength the individual parts have. I think analyzing the tensile strength of the individual parts of the system, how well do they respond and adapt to tension, is really important for figuring out how resilient your system is. So an example that I think everybody gets that's not a physical system is social tension. So social tension happens when you're putting some sort of emotional energy into a situation, and there's an opposing force that's stopping that emotional energy from being expressed in the way that it is normally expressed. So one thing here that you can do is plausible deniability. So if I wanted to create a tense situation, one thing I could do is make comments that were designed to annoy somebody, but which were so slight that they couldn't call me out on it. So the tension here is the anger or annoyance I'm injecting into the system versus that person's desire to be polite and socially aware. They can't call me out on that, and that creates a tense situation. This can also happen through power imbalance. If you have a boss who is rude or mean to you, but you can't say anything because they have power over you. This creates a tense situation as well, and this is often dictators. This is their downfall: is that they inject too much tension to the situation. They create too many negative emotions towards them, and eventually that blows up, and it can cause their regime to change. It can cause new political parties to emerge because they've just the tension eventually explodes. So a specific version of this that other people might be aware of is sexual tension. So often one way you can create this. So one way is you're at work and you can't express certain sexual things you'd like to express at work. So another way you could do this is coming back to content versus intent. And if your content is all very very mundane, but your intent is very sexual or flirty, you create this sexual tension because there's no way for this person to respond, but there's clearly something going on there, and this can happen from both sides of the situation. So that might be some ways that you can understand tension from your everyday life, but think about the other systems in your life, the non-social systems, and think about the energy flows through that system, the energy flows that might be going in different direction, and how that's creating tension. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the flip side.